Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Gina Haran. Today we have cancer survivor Pedro Pomales here in studio. Welcome, Pedro.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Now, Pedro, you are a financial advisor, and you did have a career, I believe, on Wall Street. That is your background. So we probably could spend the whole entire time giving me and everyone else advice about finances. But today, we're going to talk about your journey, your health journey, and sort of how you survived cancer. And what I want to do is sort of talk about the background. What was your life like? And then talk about the day that you realized something was wrong.
Once again, my name is Pedro Pomales. Thank you for having me in your show, and thank you for everybody who invited me. Very simple. My background comes back from, growing up in Puerto Rico, moving to New York, get education, half in PR, half here. When I started working for financial services I started in 97. It was a lot to learn, a lot to fix. You got to learn how to speak, how to stand. It's another language that you have to learn to make it in that industry. But other than that, I went through the years and got everything done, got all my training, got promoted. It got to a level where now I was managing a lot of people, different offices. And it just got building and building and building. And that's one of the things that sometimes you forget how to take care of your body.
That is true.
That's where the issue comes in, that you get focused on the task in front of you, but you forget about your health. And me coming back from a background of, playing sports all my life, playing soccer, I played pro soccer, basketball, baseball, always taking care of myself, exercising, trying to eat well. But you get to a certain level in life that success can take you to this way or that way. And if you're not careful, you end up getting sick.
So what you're saying is that, of course, all of us when we're young, we play sports, like you said. And so you're forced to, eat well and exercise. It's just kind of part of that muscle memory of every day. Then you pivot as you get older to a successful career. Mm-hmm. Then you wake up every day, correct? And then you start thinking, well, we're going down this path. And then did it actually happen that you did sort of start to forget about the nutrition, the exercise?
Yes. Yes, because you get to a level, like, for example, first time I became a CEO of 3 companies into one, I'm going to bed every day at 1 o'clock in the morning, get up at 5. You don't have time to exercise. You forget about your vitamins. You get invited here. You start drinking. You start eating the great food. Sometimes we were in Manhattan at 1 o'clock in the morning in a Chinese restaurant eating a full meal. You don't give the body time to digest your food, and you start eating all this processed food in life, and then you don't sleep well. And then you start getting up in age, and you don't take care of your body, and that's when it comes in. And us, man, we don't like to go to the doctors. We hate going to the doctor.
Of course.
Right? So, that's one of the things that we also have to change. You have to go to your doctor, to your regular appointment. You have to get checked up, and you have to know exactly what your body is. And, like Latino men, we don't complain. We just work, make it happen. We're family-oriented, providers. So we don't have time to go, ouch, doctor, this hurts. So by the time you find out what you have, it's kind of late in the game, or then you're going to have to change, your life forever.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So you were in Manhattan doing the whole Wall Street thing, and then did you move to Florida? Take us from New York to Florida, kind of what you were doing here, and then basically that day or when you finally discovered that something was wrong.
Okay, well, let me take you back to 1989. I was in college in PR, finishing my education in accounting and business administration. Came to visit my brother in Massachusetts, Clinton, Massachusetts, ended up getting a summer job. They were paying me 10 times more than I was making in Puerto Rico, plus they offered me to pay my last year education, so I kind of stayed in Massachusetts. So during that time in Massachusetts, from 89 to 2013 that I moved to Florida, all I did was study, grow, build a business, build a family. And that in Massachusetts, you're locked up 8 months out of the year because snow, the weather, it's not conducive for you to go out and walk and exercise. You either got to go to the gym. You're inside 4 walls for 8 months.
Right. So you're forced to actually rather than just take a leisurely walk every day.
So if for the viewers, if you ever live in Boston or New York where it's like that, what do you do on weekend? You go from your house to the other house to do what? You have a couple of drink, food,
Watch
all
your
that crazy stuff.
baseball,
Right?
watch your sports.
Exactly, right? But, so that's how if you're not careful, you start gaining weight. And, going back when I used to play sports, my weight was between 168 and 172. I got married in 91. By 94, I'm 250 pounds. What happened? They changed your lifestyle. Always working, eating at crazy hours at night, not getting the proper rest. And that's what happened to me then. Having all those years of using your body, when I really moved here and took the time to kind of sit down, started losing weight, started working out again, that's when the body said, okay, now this is what I have for you. Bam.
I see. Okay, so we were in Boston. Now let's move over to Florida, or move down to Florida.
Yep.
Tell me what was going on in Florida. Did you start your own company here? And then again, when did you just realize that something was really wrong with you?
2010, I sold my company. I was home trying to figure out what I was going to do next. Got a call from Bank Santander. They offered me a nice position in the small business department. Money was good, experience, first time work for corporate America. So I engaged in that, got promoted right away. Took me about 8 months to get to the top level of that department. And from there on, I was recruited. Wells Fargo, gave me a call. Hey, listen, we like your resume. At that time I was just thinking about coming to Florida because I just had vacation Anna Maria Island. I loved it. I fell in love with it. And when I went back, I put a plan together, got rid of the house, rented, just put everything in place, paid off the debt that I had, changed my cars, and started looking here for property and for work. Wells Fargo came around, hired me real quick. I moved in 2013. By November, I was here. I was moved to Lady Lake, and I was managing the Wells Fargo in 27. And from there on, I spent about a year and maybe 3 months with Wells Fargo. And after spending a year in this beautiful state and in these beautiful cities, I find out that there is a niche for what I do.
Okay.
So, and that's when I said, you know what, Wells Fargo, thank you very much for your help, but I'm going to do, and then I opened my company in July 2015. I renewed all my licenses again, got everything together, and opened my business. And by August of 2016, I had like 10 agents with me. Money was flowing, business was flowing. And as soon as I come out of an appointment from Tavares, I step at a racetrack, and that's when everything just changed my life forever.
Well, Pedro, that seems like a really great place to take a tiny break. And when we come back, we'll learn all about your journey and when you felt sick, what happened after that. Okay, everyone, we'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll be back with Pedro Pomales right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Is pain or restricted range of motion keeping you on the sidelines? Get back in the game with expert orthopedic care from UF Health Medical Group Orthopedics. UF Health Medical Group Orthopedics provides robotic-assisted surgical joint repairs and replacements, post-operative care, and inpatient rehabilitation services, all close to home, right here in Lake and Sumter counties. And for those unexpected injuries, UF Health Medical Group Orthopedics offers convenient walk-in and same-day appointments. To learn more or to schedule an appointment with one of their specialists, call 352-323-5665.
Okay, everyone, and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm Gina Horan. We are still here with Pedro Pomales telling us a very, very interesting story about getting sick, cancer survival. Take us through that very first day when you got sick here at a racetrack, of all places, getting gas. Talk about that experience.
Okay, like I was mentioning, I was coming from an appointment in Tavares, and I stopped at a racetrack. The manager is a good friend of mine, Ben, and stopped to get some coffee and went into the bathroom, and that's when I became very ill, and I noticed that there was something very wrong with me. I never been through anything like that. So I decided to rush home, take a shower, change clothes, grab my family member, and then just went into the hospital here in Leesburg. And once I go into the ER, one of the nurses there recognized me from being a racetrack and buying coffee in the morning, talking to people. And she took me in, and right away, right in front of her, everything comes out. And she looked at me, and then she asked me like 3 questions. And after that, when I opened my eyes, I was up in ICU, a whole bunch of, things plugged
Like
into
the
my
tubes
body.
and all the things. You
stuff.
just realized,
And
yeah.
then when I kind of woke up, the doctor said, hey, listen, because I felt something in my bottom because blood's just coming out. It was a bad situation. And the doctor said, hey, listen, we're going to have to rush you into surgery. There is some holes in your intestines, and there's something else wrong with you, but we don't know what it is. And I'm like, well, you do what you got to do, and when I wake up, you let me know. So that was the first operation. They removed my gallbladder. I had some holes in my intestines, and that's when they took me to the cancer center.
So you went to ER.
To the ER.
And then from then to the cancer center, how many?
Spent about
was that
3
a day?
days.
Oh, 3
Spent
days.
about 3 days in the ER. I mean, in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was able to kind of get up and walk again, next day I had an appointment at the Lady Lake Cancer Center. They put me in a whole bunch of machines, and that's when everything light up. That's when they really find out that I had a lot of complications. I had a prostate cancer, stage 2, and I had a little tumor behind my vocals here, and a lot of complications in my stomach. And the doctor looked at me and he says, I don't know how you're walking, but you are.
So you were just going through life,
Yeah.
starting your own company at the racetrack, and then the next thing you know, you've got just things happening all over your body that you were living with unknowingly, and this experience taught you, okay, this is what's happening with my body. Everyone's telling you, and then you go to the cancer treatment center.
Yeah. Once they discover exactly what I have, then they say, hey, we recommend this kind of treatment. And I was kind of against going in through chemo because I every time I went there, I'm looking at people, I'm like, man, this is just, no, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go through that, And
Be specific. Like, was there anybody in particular that you spoke with or that you talked to?
Yes, the second day, that I was going to get prepared for chemo, there was a gentleman sitting next to me in the waiting room, and I kind of asked him, I said, hey, listen, how long have you been dealing with this? He says, I'm going about 2 years now. And I said, do you mind asking, your age? He goes, no, man, I'm 46 years old. I was 47. So he's been going almost 2 years. He's looking like he was in his 70s.
Oh,
he looked so gone. There was no spirit. He was just ready to die.
So you were wondering, is it worth it? That's when your mind starts to think, especially from your background, you're used to solving problems and fixing things.
When you work in the industry that I do, you're solving problems every day. And when you grow up being an athlete and being competitive all the time and learning how to compete, learning how to prepare your body, it's like a boxer. You work out for 3 months, you go make some money and come back. In soccer, baseball, basketball, you constantly have to prepare your body and your mind. And then being in the sales business and the teaching sales and the industry, that you also have to not only be an example, but you have to duplicate yourself. You have to teach. So you learn how to focus and how to believe in who you are and what's in you.
Okay, so at this point, you think there's got to be an alternative.
Yes.
Okay, so talk us through that. What happened?
That's a funny story, but I'm going to tell you. I stopped at a gas station on that day, and I met an Indian guy who gave me a book about this big of medicine plants. And he says, this will take care of you. Because I didn't even let him know. I went to get a juice, and then he looked at me, he goes, you sick? I got something for you.
So some random guy at yet another gas station.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Circuit gas station. He brought me a book about this big, and I went home, because the next day was the chemo, and I started reading, and I started taking notes, and I ended up spending maybe 6 hours that day, in the internet, calling people, finding things out, and I did a whole plan. I said, if chemo doesn't work, I'm gonna go this route, because really, you do not know how much natural medicine is out there because it's never presented. So you trust the doctor, you trust the system, right?
Plus, how many people have time to go through? That's another problem. Who goes through a 6-hour, read a big thick book and do their own homework? I would imagine that's probably 80% of the battle, just educating, yourself. And since you do have a background and you've been educated and an educator, this probably was quite fascinating. I would imagine.
I learned a lot. So, I leave that next day. I have the appointment for the chemo. and I'm all there, propped up, and everything. And then some nurse walks in, tell the other lady to stop the procedure. I'm like, what happened? And then they take me to an office. I find out they cancel my health insurance. I have no clue. So now they can't do anything. So now I'm forced to do what? Either fight with my health insurance, which I did, right? Like it was a mistake, they say. But at the same time, I believe that was kind of God's way to say, hey, that way is better.
A little divine intervention
Because
there.
I made a decision that day. I said, even though you're going to open the insurance again, I'm not going through this. I'm not letting you take out 10 tubes of blood of me, and then you give me this medicine. I feel like crap. I can't even talk. I can't even think. I said, no. So I went home and I just got on my knees and I told God, I said, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die as a man. I'm going to die as a warrior. I'm going to go this route. So I started reading and learning, reading and studying, buying more books, going to the internet for 3 days. I went crazy, feeling pain, nauseated, not able to eat, not able to kind of talk right. But I said, Mama, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die fighting. So out of nowhere, I found this natural doctor in New Mexico.
Okay.
From the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And I called the doctor and he says, oh, this is simple, my friend. He said, the first thing I'm going to ask you, how's your faith? I said, well, I'm talking to you, right? He says, yep, that's step one. Step two, what's your plan? I said, I already changed all my diet. I'm talking to the dietitian too. I got a doctor who's going to take out my blood every 2 weeks, and we're going to send you the records. And then you tell me what to do. I'm very coachable, but I'm a fight. So he said, all right. So he got me into oils, tea, changed my whole diet, exercise, meditation. This is where the key is.
The meditation or
all
of them in combination?
Well, meditation heals you because your spirit have to be healed first for your body to follow. A lot of people don't believe in meditation. Meditation is something that you're just talking to yourself.
Correct.
That's the time for you to find out who you really are, what do you want out of life.
Looking inward.
Exactly, right? And it's scary sometimes because sometimes you don't really know who you are.
Or we don't want to know sometimes who we really are.
But you have to, so you can move forward in life and become something that you're proud of, right? So I started doing a lot of meditation, reading a lot of the Bible, reading a lot of books. And then I started walking. And I walk a little bit. I was tired, sit down, threw up, got some water, kept walking. By the time I opened my eyes, I was walking 6 miles a day.
Wow. And this progressed over weeks, months? Like, talk to us about
Everything started around September 2016.
Okay.
By November, before Thanksgiving, Dr. Perkins at Wildwood, he's like, listen, your numbers are amazing. I know you're still sick because your blood tells me, but your numbers are great. You look great. You haven't gained or lost any weight for the past 3 months. Keep what you're doing. I said, all right. And then that's when the natural doctor said, hey, listen, now remember this. I'm pushing 47, 48. Never touch any kind of drug or even talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? Because my mom would have killed me. So now the doctor's telling me, hey, we have to go this route. We're going to have to use this oil. You're going to have to put it on your tongue. It tastes like crap, but it's going to help you. So he sent me his little bottle that costs about $575. And I'm like, it tasted nasty. But what I noticed was you put 2 drops, your whole body pain went away. I was focused. It gave me energy, and he let me eat. Because that was one of my problems.
Could you repeat what that is again? The little vial. What exactly?
Is a bottle about this.
Yes.
Is the color is black. It's an extract from different kind of plants, including cannabis.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
And they make it in California and Colorado, some other states they make it. And you use 2 drops 3 times a day.
So you found an expert who makes this
Yes.
tincture,
Well,
as it
the
is.
doctor told me that this is what I recommend to my patients, but you have to get it from this company.
Correct. Okay.
So Dr. Perkins wrote a letter, right? Hey, listen, I advise him that he can use it. I study it because I brought all the information to him, right? He said, yeah, you can use it. I know about that. So we send the paperwork back because I remember now it has to come in the mail, and you know how,
Yes.
legal
Yep.
remediations, right? So we started getting it, and I started getting better and better and better and better and better to the point that when I used to go get my drum blood every 2 weeks, he's like, "Mister, I don't see anything." So now I started getting biopsy done. Then I started getting into the machine, and the doctors are kind of like, "What are you doing? What is it that you're doing? You have no scars, okay? We know because we seen you when you were in bad shape, and we can see the scars in your stomach from the operation. But other than that, there is nothing that tells us that you went through that episode."
So you're working with traditional medicine in conjunction with the natural medicine, in conjunction with everything that you've studied, and just doing whatever it takes to fight this on your own. Pedro, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more with Pedro and his cancer survival. Don't go anywhere.
Are you ready for your future to take flight? Whether you're graduating high school or looking to level up, Lake Sumter State College offers affordable degrees and certificates that will punch your ticket to success in a rewarding career. Plus, with programs like Direct Connect to UCF, your opportunities with LSSC are endless. So, what are you waiting for? Join us in Leesburg, Claremont, Sumterville, Four Corners, or online. Learn more at lssc.edu.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here with Pedro Pomales. So, Pedro, tell us exactly when you found out you were cancer-free.
That was back in 2019. I believe it was February, between maybe 6 and 8. It was like 6 days before the lockdown. Remember the lockdown?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Right, in February they started with the lockdown. So I was in Massachusetts, getting checked up. One of my doctors there, and he walks in and they take out a whole bunch of blood and stuff like that. And he said, "Man, we don't see any scar, we don't see anything. So you're free to do what you need to do. If you want to go back to work, if you want to, whatever you want to do, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep your diet, keep working out. Look at you. That time I was like, I don't know, 189. So I maintain myself now between 190 and 200. But it was amazing because for me, it was like being born again. Once I left the doctor's office, I went home, I was by myself, and I started thinking, okay, so now what? Now what, my friend? What are you going to do now? And I just told myself, I'm going to go back to Florida and I'm going to kick some ass. And up to today, I started my business in a parking lot of a gas station. And now I have an amazing office. I'm about to have amazing staff. We're about to break, $500,000 in revenue.
And you're still cancer-free.
And I'm still cancer-free, and I will be cancer-free.
Now, Pedro, let's talk about, so in 2018, 2019, you're getting your blood drawn. You're still working with traditional, doctors, as well as working with all the things that you have learned over the 2 years that you went through this yourself. Talk about, specifics of your daily routine, how you wake up, what you eat, what you are doing, and how you're keeping yourself healthy to this day.
Change my diet.
And can you be more specific?
Yep. I don't eat nothing that is not organic, nothing that is everything has to be gluten-free, no NGOs, all the sodas, all the sugars, all the bread, everything that is processed food. I don't go to restaurants unless I know they cook some kind of good, healthy, organic food. So usually you can tell I don't go to restaurants a lot, because another thing that, what the cancer gave me allergies to certain foods.
Oh, the cancer gave you allergies. Can you be specific?
Like seafood, bread, wheat, all that kind of stuff, not even beans. So I'm a Latino man that knows how to cook, and I can't eat nothing.
So you're Puerto Rican and you can't eat beans or fish. Can you eat rice still? I mean, is that...
The only rice that I can tolerate a little bit is Jasmine's rice, but I can't eat it every day. So I had to change my whole diet. I had to learn, first of all, what was really organic. What does it mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay? Talk about that a little bit.
Okay? So you have to be very careful, because usually it says organic, but you have to look at the ingredient. It has to have nothing. For example, I eat chicken. The only meat that I eat is organic chicken.
Okay.
So that organic chicken is very small, okay? And it says, fresh, clean, raised, and it will tell you what they used to eat. There's no other chemicals. There's nothing.
So you do your homework with every single ingredient, every bite. Start, with the chicken, and what else?
Vegetables. I go to the market, right, in Summerfield. I know a few farmers there. I know for years, I get my vegetables there, my greens, and that's it. And that's what I eat. I eat twice a day. I don't eat breakfast. You don't have to have breakfast. Breakfast, you should have like a grapefruit juice. That's what you have for breakfast because it'll give you a lot of energy. But other than that, if you eat breakfast, you by 10 o'clock, you're going to feel, right? And what do? We get coffee. Okay,
Right.
even though that's the only thing that I have to cut, but I grew up with coffee.
I was going to say that. I mean,
just-
there has
it's
to be
impossible.
one tiny thing that
So
you want to keep.
That's my. I have to keep it because it's just.
It's good for the
It
soul.
makes me smile. It makes me smile, right?
Okay.
But you have to learn what you eat because you'll become what you eat. You understand? And at certain hours at night, don't eat after those hours because you have to give the body, time to burn that food and then, heal itself. Resting. When your body tells you you're tired, go to sleep. Maybe you need 5, 10, 15 minutes, not 6 hours. Don't oversleep. That's another thing that a lot of people don't know. When you oversleep, you're not giving time your body to do what it needs to do. So you're not balanced.
So balance is a huge key.
It's exactly. It's crucial. Have you noticed sometimes when you tell yourself, I want to be in my office at this time in the morning, and then you get up and you flit around the house and you come to the office and now you're a little bit late. Now you're mad because what you're doing is you're lying to yourself. So you have to learn how to listen to yourself, not overwork yourself, not overeat, not overdrink. It's nothing wrong for you having 1 or 2 drinks. It's even in the Bible. It's good for your stomach, okay? But not overdo it.
So, Pedro, now let's talk about today in your life today. You're still a financial advisor. You're still working for people, still working with money. You have a career. But how are you adjusting and we just talked about this, your spirituality? And it doesn't necessarily mean, religion or anything. I'm just saying, how do you keep with that high pressure financial, helping people with money, and keep that balance of spirituality and calmness and balance?
2 things, right? I help people with accounting and bookkeeping and also financial advising. You have to be humble. You have to be humble. And also, you have to believe that what you bring has value. And also, you have to remember that the person in front of you thinks, acts different than you. So when you're advising somebody, okay, you first have to find out where do you want to go and why. A lot of people want to retire, but they don't know how to retire. So they put money in certain avenues and not even manage it or not even ask the person. And then when it's come time to use the money, it's too late because you haven't balanced and prepared yourself.
But how has this whole experience changed the way you approach your career now? You were, again, in Manhattan, living that life. Now you have this incredible life-altering experience, and you're back doing that. How have you changed as an advisor or as a person, a career person?
When you go to situations where your life is on the line, and I'm here because not of me, right? You have to be honest with you. I'm here because if it was up me, I messed that up the first time. So God gave me a second opportunity. So I approach every day like it is my last day. I have to be honest because you never know. I could have walked into that racetrack and dropped, never opened my eyes again. So every morning when I open my eyes, I say, thank you for giving me an opportunity to be an example to others and use my experience to advise the people and my personal experience to let them know this is what I make my mistake. You can use it or not, but based on where you're going, I see the same directions. And also, I'm almost 57. You see life differently. And when you ask God to open your eyes to reality, you got to be ready for that because you're going to see life differently.
Well, Pedro, this has been very enlightening, and I love the fact that you said stay humble. I think it's something that, I try to do, and it's just great advice, and I'm really happy that you're here. We're all happy that you're
Thank
here.
you.
Thanks again for being with us. That wraps up another wonderful edition of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm Gina Horan.